Another thing which people often assume about the Reformation is that this is really fundamentally a European event, which only in later centuries, as a result of colonial empires, is exported to the rest of the world. We want, I think, to point out to people that it's a bigger story, and right from the outset, the Reformation becomes not just a European but a global phenomenon. The Reformation is very much implicated in the story of how Christianity goes from being a European to a world faith. There's a wonderful coincidence in time of Luther's anxieties and protests against the teaching of the traditional church with the Spanish and Portuguese voyages of discovery. There are Franciscan friars arriving in Mexico very shortly after Luther nails up his 95 Theses. And Catholicism is becoming a global religion, gaining adherents in Asia and in the Americas at the same time that parts of Europe are breaking away from this traditional teaching, something contemporaries were very aware of. Another thing we try and get across in the book is that the cultural transitions involved here are not just one way. This is not just a matter of the exporting of European ideas abroad, but of reverse cultural influences back to Europe. The experience of trying to convert indigenous peoples in other parts of the world made the clergy reflect on how they needed to get across the ideas of the faith to the rural peasantry in Europe, for example. Artistic traditions from other parts of the world are brought back to Europe. There's really quite an extraordinary story of how ivories and other forms of image carving for a European market are being created in places like the Philippines and by Chinese craftsmen. On the Protestant side, of course, it's as a result of the controversies of the Reformation that those Protestants, the Puritans as we call them, who feel that they cannot live out their vision of Christian life under the political pressures of the English state, transport themselves to New England, to Massachusetts, to set up the New Jerusalem, the city on the hill, to live out a pure vision of the gospel. And in a sense, of course, this is the start of a story which will lead to modern American religion in all its wonderful diversity, which I think we need to see not as a modern creation, but as part and parcel of how the Reformation and the ripples from the Reformation play out across the globe and over time.